Even if all of reality is consciousness, if everything I'm experiencing is consciousness, which is what enlightenment seems to suggest, then there still seems to be the question remaining of, does a particular object have consciousness or sentience? For example, a rock, a tree, a bird, we assume an animal or human probably does, or a rock or a chair doesn't. What insights does enlightenment give us about this?
He's asking for conclusions, lots of conclusions here. He wants to get an answer, definitive answer that distinguishes something from other things, or give me all the conclusions that you have. No conclusions here. No conclusions allowed.
It doesn't give you any insights about that unless you become enlightened what a rock is, and or what consciousness is. In other words, you grasp directly what this stuff is.
And then I can know what has sentience and what doesn't?
You already know what has sentience and what doesn't. Sentience is a distinction, and you make it, right?
You
make a distinction between sentience. You just did.
Yeah.
See? You said rock is not sentient and bird is.
I mean, I don't really know. Maybe a rock is sentient, so I'm open to that possibility.
In your distinction, you see, which is your experience, in your experience, you've already made that distinction. You already know. That's what sentient is. Now, you may not know what that is directly, but you know you've already made the experience, the distinction between a rock and sentience. Now, here's something, maybe, I invite you to consider that maybe there's no difference between sentience and a rock.
Maybe no difference? How? Wait a second, what? There's no difference between sentience and a rock. There's no difference between a rock being sentient or not. How do we determine this? How do we figure this out? Are rocks sentient? Are things alive? He said a chair. Rocks and chairs, are they sentient? I always wonder, how do we determine if other people are sentient? Kind of ask them questions, maybe they figure out how they respond to you. You ever asked a rock a question? You ever asked your chair if it's sentient or not? See how it responds? Very easy first step to determine if these things are conscious, sentient beings that interact in the world. Do it in the same way that you determine if a human is conscious, sentient being that interacts in the world. How do you determine if a person, let's say, is alive? Yeah, your chair lifts you up when you're tired. Always there for you, man. Foundation for a lot of us. Foundation for a lot of your being, your existence here. I've got a nice little cushion here. Keep me up, keep me comfortable, at least mostly comfortable. And I've got a zabuton? A cushion under my cushion. Very nice, very nice. Interview the rock next and ask him about sentience, yes. You just ask the question. I mean, this is a very basic thing. When you see a person and you say, oh, is this person alive? Is this person sentient? Is this person conscious? What do you do to the person to figure it out? Sometimes you have to shake them. Sometimes you have to ask them a question. Sometimes you have to prod them sort of emotionally and see if you can connect on an emotional level. There are various different ways to do this. Have you ever done that to your chair? Have you ever done that to a rock? If not, it might be helpful to try and you might learn something very bizarre. I like to suggest doing it with your bed. Your bed's a very easy one to test, I think, personally. Yeah. See if your bed's alive, see if your bed's conscious, see if your bed's sentient. In the same way that you might want to see if, you sometimes talk to people, maybe just somebody who's a little closed off. You get the idea that they're human because they talk and stuff, but you don't have any sort of connection at all. You don't think, they might be robots. They might have no emotions at all. They might not actually have the lights on. So how do you figure it out? You kind of talk to them. You say, okay, I want to poke and prod a little bit more. I want to get to the depths of this person. I want to find the person. I want to find the life. I want to find the sentience in this person. You ask lots of questions. It might take years for some people to open up and really express themselves and really show that they are alive, that they are actually sentient. Do you give that grace? Do you give that opportunity to anything else other than people? Do we see how foolish our methodology has been? Try it with your bed. Try it with a random rock. Try it with a chair. Try it. Things might be a little strange.
Maybe there's no difference between, a rock and consciousness. The difference between a rock and sentience is relative. Ta-da!
Wait a second. Okay, I'm so confused. All right, these are very early videos. The first video is from 2016. I'm seeing some of the habits, some of the mannerisms of Leo being expressed through Peter here. Or rather, I should say, I see Peter's mannerisms being repeated in Leo's later videos. Your bed's giving you the silent treatment. Oh no, don't neglect it. Don't neglect it. Yeah, it's hard to get back in the good graces of the bed sometimes. If you've been neglecting your bed, you've been mean to your bed, you've only been talking to your bed about, you've been talking to your bed about, and you want to open up and see other parts of it. It's kind of hard. It might take a while. Good luck.
We assume that humans have sentience, and we assume that rocks don't.
We assume all sorts of things.
But is it possible that science one day proves that a rock does have sentience?
Has science proved that you are sentient? Is that the mechanism? Is that the test that we ever do? Why do we always point to science for this? You don't need science to prove to yourself that you are sentient, do you? Do you need science to prove to yourself that your dog is sentient? Do you need science to prove to yourself that your family, your friend, your closest friends, your parents, your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister, the people that you relate to, does science need to prove that they are sentient? What nonsense. We never used that mechanism before. Why are we appealing to it currently? No, use the same thing that you've been doing for every other test of sentience. Keep doing that one. Just do that test to more things. Stop being so selective.
I have no idea if science is going to prove rock does have sentience.
Science.
I'm saying we don't know what sentience is. We don't know what a rock is. Okay? See, and you're asking, is a rock sentient or not rock sentient, etc., like that. Find out what a rock is.
So are you saying that with direct consciousness, I can figure out what the answer is, or that it's just open to scientific investigation in the future?
I mean, it's always open to any investigation, in the future. You have no idea what science is going to come up with in the future, right? It's wide open. That's all relative, though.
Do you like good energy? Like, comment, and subscribe for more.